And we're live. Hey guys, hope y'all are having a great Wednesday. It's beautiful and sunny here, so I spent a little bit outside just laying in the sun, meditating, which was wonderful. Make sure you get outside if you haven't done so today. Always a good practice. So yeah, for anyone tuning in to this show for the first time, just to give a little background, um, this is a health Q&A where we take submitted questions from the community and go over them. And when I say we, because I'm always joined by Toni Weel, who is behind the scenes, but she's always here outwardly sharing her beautiful gnosis and experience. And for those of you who don't know Toni, she is a licensed detox specialist trained under Dr. Morse, and she has been selflessly sharing this knowledge for quite some time. And yeah, she's always willing to help out with that. So the idea with these shows is to continue bringing awareness to what our species-specific diet is, how far we deviated away from that, and what are the steps needed to get from this state of chaos and acidity back to the state of harmony and alkalinity. So thank you for being here, Toni. And did you have any particular words to open up with today?
Thank you, Justin. I first have to rectify something because you mentioned licensed
Okay,
practitioner. License mean that the government approves of what
right.
you're doing.
Licensed by God, not any
I
government
am.
entity.
I'm definitely certified. So yeah. So that only means I took the classes and I did it correctly. I took the exam and everything. So yeah, I have the plaque to show it.
Well, thanks
That
for clarifying. Yeah, we don't need any government agencies telling us who is official and who's not, because they haven't exactly had the best track record in the past of identifying our experts in the field. So
well,
I'm glad to clarify that.
that's not really the only thing. Is if you are licensed, you have to go by their rules. So even a licensed dietitian have to go by their ideas about
Mm,
what is healthy for you. And oh my gosh, that is so bad.
mm,
That is so bad. A lot of the dietitians just, stopped their work in that way, and many of them became actually Dr. Morris or detox specialists
mm,
because it's a way better way of healing.
right.
And well, that kind of brings me to my own healings and what I just mentioned that I wasn't going to mention today, but it's like the struggles that we have to get to a point of being healthier. And you mentioned like it's always the ego, and it's like sometimes I feel like, well, maybe my ego has some dark forces, because you wonder why you can do great for weeks and then all of a sudden you just have to get something that you know is going to cause you pain.
Mm.
And I haven't completely figured that out. So what is your take on that? Why would we do something? Does it have to do with like not being able to control yourself, or because the thought doesn't even come up to eat something bad. It's just like all of a sudden there is this have to have. Can't even
Mhm.
say it's a craving.
Yeah. Well, I think there are several factors kind of that could be at play, and it's hard to know exactly what the concoction is that leads to us to do a certain thing. But you could look at it from an astrological sense, in that we're always being affected by these astrological energies. And so as we go through different seasons, different weeks, different moon cycles, different planetary cycles and things of that nature, we're always affected by different energies, and these energies can unlock aspects of our physical body that we might not have experienced prior to this. So it's possible that that is bringing up some sort of whether it be trauma or some sort of just necessary some form of stimulation to drive us to perform certain ways. And that's why studying the stars and its movement is so important, because we're ultimately here to know ourselves and to learn how to operate in the system that we help co-create. So that could be a big factor. And then on top of that, yeah, and we'll discuss more on the detox aspect today, but as we're detoxing, there are layers of this filth and acids and mucus and things that have just accumulated throughout our whole lives that really take a few layers to be removed before we actually get to them. And so as we're going through this journey, when we unlock that aspect, when we get to that particular layer, it's going to bring about whatever challenges we were facing at the time when we initially toxified ourselves in that way. So that could look from anything from different strains of bacteria and fungus, or parasites, or whatever else that are suddenly activated, and they're like, okay, we're going to go back to that period of time where our host was eating that particular thing and caused them to crave that. We've been laying dormant for so long because we've just been covered up, or just the emotional energy that can be tied from that physical material can manifest in different ways too. So that's kind of my take on what could contribute to that sort of thing. And I don't know for absolute certain, but that's my best take. And I completely understand and completely relate to going through those things. Like I've been good recently, but in the past few months, I've definitely had some experimentation here and there with trying like rice and cooked foods, and we go through these things, and I think it's important to, when we do go through them, to not judge ourselves and not really be too hard on ourselves when we do go through them, because when we look at it from a grand scheme, everything that we did, even if it's indulging in something that might not be the best for our bodies, that thing was perfect for us to experience in that moment, because we needed that physical reminder to get us back on the path. We needed to experience, okay, I need to eat this. I need to experience what it does to me. I need to feel the pain or the discomfort, whatever it is, so that I can better integrate this path and get back onto it, for moving forward. But yeah, it is quite a journey, and it's not something that should be taken lightly, especially when we consider how far we've strayed away from our true path.
It's interesting that you brought up astrology, because I did a podcast with Jeanette yesterday,
Oh, nice.
and we talked about these things too, because I feel when you say, yeah, it has to do, also has to, astrology, everything affects us, then, but how can we then deal with it other than knowing like, okay, it's something, we need to be aware of something, and knowing why you do it. If it's related to the astrology part, then there's not really what we can do. It's just,
Well,
we just deal with it.
we continue to steel ourselves and continue, and when I say steel, I mean, like, just strengthen our resolve, and
Hmm.
understand that, yes, I am going to be affected by all sorts of external stimuli all the time, and from astrology to my interpersonal interactions, my relationships, to temptations of the flesh in different ways. And the more that I can, if I'm always blaming the, like, because we shouldn't blame astrology and just say, oh, well, that's Mercury's in retrograde, so that's why I'm going to be a shitty person for this period of time, which we hear some people say. It can't be taken that way. We can't use it as an excuse, but it's just an increased awareness, so that we can come back to the true work to be done, which is that internal work, which is saying, okay, no matter what. And that's temperance. That's the virtue temperance, which is, no matter what happens to my external reality, no matter what tries to come at me from the out there world, I am not swayed. And it's a very difficult one, but it's important for sure.
It almost reminds me of PMS, like that 1 week before that I was absolutely impossible. And I always warned them, be aware, it's that time. But then, now it's just like with food, it's not even stuff that you like. You just do it, and
Mm.
and then feel guilty. And that is something that we have to change, have to be aware. And what I like what you said, it's just to show us what happens when we do, and then we get on the right path again.
Yeah. Everything,
And yeah.
everything is an opportunity. And when we truly step into this space, that even the most horrible, horrendous things that I could possibly imagine or come up with, it's all an opportunity for growing, and it's all an
Mhm.
opportunity for us to improve and to move on from that, so that we don't need those particular painful reminders, and we can just continue to grow without the painful reminders. But until we get to that space where we are actually doing the work consistently on a communal, like all across the board, then we sort of need the painful reminders because we're stubborn and we get stuck in our ways. And if we don't have that like really painful reminder, then we just keep doing it. And ultimately that's not where we want to go as a soul. You know, we want to rise. And so our soul, our higher self, like, you know, is always going to be pushing us to that space of maximum potential. And sometimes that requires a little smack in the smack in the head, you know, a kick in the ass to get back onto that track. But if that's what it takes, if that's what we need, then it's perfect. It's perfect for us.
Too bad I cannot blame it on my the mold in my house. They're gonna fix that tomorrow. Oh
Yeah.
boy, yeah. I came across something more information and about the whole detoxification symptoms or the healing crisis. And I don't think we talked about that enough. We always are like, okay, if you have certain symptoms, your body is highly acidic, then you need to alkalize your body and just eat, you know, more fruit, less cooked, etc. And definitely not to meat, dairy, eggs, greens, beans, etc. But when you begin in the process of alkalizing your body and granting it more energy, and then there are many symptoms that can come up, and those are sometimes seemingly adverse reactions, which are not too easy. And there's something that Dr. Morse wrote about it in his book, The Detox Miracle Source Book. And I'll read it to you. It's very short. It is important to be smart in helping your body to detoxify itself. Again, there can be a fine line between helping or hindering it in your body. Have some common sense about the whole process of detoxification. Each person is unique. What an asthmatic person goes through may be totally different than a case of uterine cancer. If you cleanse, you experience side effects such that you feel you need to go to an emergency room, then go. He writes, I spent many years working in them. They are there to help you in a crisis. So we have this whole long, scary list of all the things that can happen during a detoxification. And it goes from mild to stronger reactions. And it is, you know, we like to think that, yeah, every discomfort in a healing crisis or discomfort is a healing crisis, but that's not always the case, because sometimes you definitely need to slow down. And it can happen that you have to go to the emergency room. It's often a difficult choice, but if I look at what are the mild, and that's actually the mild cleansing effects, that is, of course, the first one that's always come up, and that is cold and flu-like symptoms. Those are always detox symptoms. And I don't care if everything is called now something else, but this is what it is. And you can have low-grade fevers like 99 to 100 Fahrenheit. You can have minor aches and pains. You can have mucus and stools. It's actually good because that means stuff is coming out. Same with the urine. You can have loss of energy, you know, feel very tired, and it just your body is just telling you take a rest, because there's a lot of energy in your body needed to heal and to detox. You can have rashes and itching. And you can have actually your disease symptoms that are increasing, but that's only temporarily. You can have like mucus from the eyes, headaches, blurred vision. It's minor vertigo, weight loss. And I think you experienced that too, Justin, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big one, and that's a big one that I mean, all of these can deter people, but I feel like the rapid weight loss is one of the most common ones that scares people away from adopting this way. And it's just one of those things where, well, I'll let you finish and then we can talk about that some more.
Yeah, the average weight loss can be like 8 to 15 pounds in about 2 weeks. And it also depends on the thyroid level, and it can be as little as 2 pounds. It's different for everyone. I mean, I can easily lose 10, 15 pounds in a week even, but if I don't stick to my old fruit, that's how much I can gain. So,
Mm.
but that is a thyroid issue. You can have chills, emotional feelings rising up, such as mild crying, anger, or even laughter. And that is so true. And I hear this so often from people because everyone feels that they're detoxing. Now they need to feel better. Yeah, but you are also going through all this kind of stuff. You can have temporarily nosebleeds, short-term nosebleeds, and you can have rectal bleeding, hemorrhoids or lesions, you can have some minor blood in the urine. And then at the bottom of the list is etc. I don't like that word etc. there, but it is there. Now, when you go to the next level, because we know it is like peeling an onion, it goes in layers, you know, the mild ones, you have the moderate ones, and the moderate ones are actually symptoms of bronchitis or pneumonia, heavy discharges of green to brown mucus from the nose and throat. It's actually a good sign because the stuff is coming out. Pain in the joints, and I had always joint pain, and when I'm on 100% fruit, the pain is actually gone.
Mm.
So I have not experienced that the pain is getting worse. You can have heavy discharge from the kidneys. The urine color can change to brown, orange, or dark yellow, etc. And I have even seen it in a person. It was black. So much junk had to come out. You can have pain in old injuries or in degenerative areas of the body. Things that you experienced in the past can come back, but it's only for a very short time. Minor paralysis of limbs, chronic fatigue symptoms, the nosebleeds again, spasms of the lungs in asthma, emphysema, and COPD, and a moderate shortness of breath, same thing. Temporary increase in tumor size. Now, this you have to be aware of, because I do hear from people with cancer, it's like, but my cancer is growing. That can be a detox symptom, as long as you know that you put in the right fuel. Yeah, I always say it that way, put in the right fuel. It means 100% fruit, that you really, really are seriously on a detox protocol. So that is when this can happen, but it should go away. It should not keep growing, but it can be scary. Disease symptoms magnifying, well, it's the same as the increase in the tumor size, but it is short-lived. Sores appearing on the skin, and oozing of innumerable substances from the skin, especially from the hands and feet. I've heard that from clients also. Bruising, weak muscle breakdown. This is actually muscle that was, you could almost say, created from meat protein. So if you stop with eating the meat, you can have your muscles can get weak. It's like a breakdown. You can have a heavier mucus discharge from the eyes and ears, even vomiting and diarrhea, and cellulitis that looks like it's clumping, and dizziness and or vertigo, minor heart palpitations, loose teeth, minor abscesses in the mouth, because the lymph wants to move and it comes out in all kinds of places. So with the teeth and your mouth, it's always so important to keep it alkaline, to test it, have these cheap pH tests and keep an eye on it. The minor abscesses in the mouth and migraines. You can have a high-grade fever, like 103 to 105. Deep coughing, sometimes dry. You can use herbs to loosen and eliminate the impacted mucus. So there are ways that we have, or the herbs that we have that can help you with that. But then we can also have depression or anxieties, and you're hoping that when you're on all fruit, it's going away, it's getting better. But once I see that people are really seriously on the detox, this is what is coming up, and it is so frustrating. because there is nothing that I can change for someone. But this can be the case when it's getting too bad. It's like slow down your detox a little, and eat a steamed sweet potato, or some steamed veggies, and maybe even an avocado. That will stop it. And then the next day you just start again. And again, that emotional releasing, that crying, anger, laughter. I wonder what they mean here by etc. And heavy thoughts. And we really figured that we could get away from the heavy thoughts because we are on a high frequency diet, but there is so much in us that has to get out. And it comes up, all of it just comes up, and you just go through it and have faith that you are doing the right thing for your body, for your mind, and that it is part of the healing. That's why I rather call it healing crisis instead of the detoxification symptoms. I like the word healing in this thing. Your skin can start splitting where heavy detoxings exist, and you can have excessive itching. And mercury tooth fillings can be pushed out by the body. That is what happened to me.
Wow.
My fillings fell out. And you want to get them out one way or another, but this was the other way.
Yeah, don't swallow it, that's for sure.
No, well, I don't know. I don't think so. Because, but they definitely came out. You can have rectal bleeding from past or present hemorrhoids or lesions. Now, Dr. Morse writes, you may experience one or several of the above cleansing effects, healing crisis. Do not panic. You want these. I love to see dark green mucus coming out of my patients. That's an excellent sign that they are doing the program correctly and are benefiting from it. It's always smart to work with a qualified health practitioner that has had advanced experience with detoxification and its side effects. He wrote that. That's not mine. He wrote it. And I am one of these qualified healthcare practitioners. Now, do you want to hear the strong cleansing effects?
Sure. Yeah, I might as well list them off.
We might as well go there. If you want to take it that deep. And I know of a few people that actually have taken it that deep. He was one of the person that I think of is a young man, John Stearns, and he is also an admin in defense of Dr. Morse Group. And he went through all that. He had on a very young age, he had some symptoms with his knees and arthritis, and I think he had prostatitis. He was very young to have those kind of problems. So he started to detox, and he is very lucky. He lives now in Thailand, so he has all the beautiful fruit that he can think of. And his body went from really being like, he looked like a skeleton. He has this before and after pictures, and now, he has a beautiful body just by going through it and peeling off all those layers, and now knowing what he can use. So that's, yeah. You're just showing me that, the moderate, mild cleansing effects and moderate cleansing effects. Yeah.
So if anyone needs to pause and take a look at this list, I'll try and zoom.
Yeah, it actually has the same thing as what I have here.
Yeah, I think it's from the same book.
Yeah, I don't even have it out of the book. It's you can find a lot on grapegate.com, what has been set up for the clients and actually also for the practitioners to help them. I have not necessarily, I see that you wrote down things like where you use acid fruits or acid and subacid fruits.
Yeah, this was posted by someone else in a group, so I didn't write that, but yeah, I imagine this would be what might cause.
Yeah, and it can scare people off. It's like, I don't want this, and so I'm not going to do it. But then when you look at your life and you look at your health and see where you are at, it is, well, can you get better by keeping doing what you have been doing? Probably not. Well, I think definitely not, because it is whatever you have been doing has been causing you the health that you have right now. So what choices do you have? And I wouldn't say expect these kind of things. It's like, oh my gosh, this is going to happen. Not necessarily. There are people, it didn't happen at all. They didn't have any of this. The weight loss and the hair loss is actually something that most the people are mostly afraid of. Yeah, the strong ones, it's paralysis of the body and black mucus. Yeah, it's the same as what I have here, and I can even put this in the files or send you this file. Maybe easier to read or to
Yeah,
have.
that would be great. Just giving
Yeah,
people, if people want to pause
the
it, take a screenshot.
yeah, but and the strong cleansing effects, and yeah, it shows that there too is the teeth becoming loose, and that is can be major. And even if you get through that, it will fix itself again. And that is, yeah, I think that was pretty beautiful. And the loss of fingernails, I have seen that. It just, you know, the toxicity can be everywhere and it just falls off. I have one weird nail because of the psoriasis that I have, and it seems to clean up on all kinds of places because I had it 16 years ago of 80% of my body. And it started on my head after I had really extreme stress for years, and a very bad diet. Been through a divorce. It was not a good time, and very little money, pretty poor, and I ate the wrong things like beans. You can keep yourself alive for a violent beans, but you don't get any healthier from it. So for me, it had to come out in psoriasis. But when I am on all fruit, it just goes away. It's just that one nail that keeps reminding me like, this looks weird. So yeah, the other thing is that is scary is the loss of sight, because we want to get to a point that when our eyes get worse, something else that I have in my right eye, I have very limited vision, is you don't want to lose it all. And that is scary. And I do understand that it is hard to trust your body to get through this, and that you are doing the right thing when you read these very strong cleansing effects. But once you go through this and you start building up the regeneration part, which is actually what you do while you're detoxing too, because you're also healing, it is, yeah, get through it. Don't be afraid of it. Whatever you see is happening is embrace it. There is, but you know, if it's, I talked to somebody who has a problem with a part of their colon, and yeah, you get them to a point. It's like, should you go to the hospital or not? So
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
sorry, are you finished? I was going to go
Yeah,
over.
well, I was going to say I'm not you know, I'm not medically trained. I cannot say anything about it. If somebody feels that it's safer to go to the hospital, by all means, do it. Let them say what it is. But it too often it happens that you get a diagnosis that is incorrect, and then you take their steps to so-called healing, which is not happening. And at some point, you know, if something is life-threatening, I don't see cancer as life-threatening unless you had their what is it? Treatments. Because we don't put acids on acids. And sometimes a cancer that is not treated, you live longer than a cancer that is allopathic treated. But, you know, even with cancer, there are ways, and we see now so many much younger people having cancer. in the 20s, the 30s, even younger. And it's all the high acidity and the food that we put in our body. So when you look at all these detox or cleansing effects, like Dr. Morse likes to call them, then it can be scary. But what choices do you have? Then just go through it and go forward on your journey to a better health. That's how I look at it.
Yeah. I mean, it comes down to a like you said, it's all about faith. Like when you know that this is the right path, and there's no doubt in my mind, like there's not an iota of a doubt in my mind that this is not the right, that this isn't the right path. This is the right path to follow. And so when you know that, then everything that you encounter is just a necessary part of recalibrating and coming back into that space. And I almost like comparing it to, I mean, I do like comparing it to that the physical death that we have to experience, when we realign and come back and no, like consciously choose to exit Babylon and step onto this path. We have to shed our old skin and to experience a physical death, and this manifests in different ways for different people. So I'll just go through, my detox or my cleansing symptoms that I've experienced since embarking on this journey, and keep in mind, this has been paired with many beautiful things that I'll list as well. But there have been some things that everything that comes up, I know that, okay, I need to, this is just part of getting away from all of the gunk that that the poison that I've been consuming for my entire life. And so, yes, I have to experience some of it. It's karmic repercussions, essentially. These cleansing symptoms are karmic repercussions of us saying, okay, and I'm not going to take a conscious role into my health and preserving my temple and keeping it sacred and hallowed. So because I chose not to do that, I have to experience some karmic repercussions to kind of come back to it. But it's all beautiful because it's all necessary to get back to this centered and harmonious space. But so when I started back in November of last year, my initial detox symptoms, I went on a juice cleanse, and like I think you do need to take warning if you are going to jump straight into a juice cleanse from a standard everything diet. You're going to experience some very, very uncomfortable symptoms, and I don't know if I'd really advocate it for everyone. I think it might be better to slowly transition, but it really just depends on what you're looking for. But I experienced extreme nausea for, I mean, it was several days where I was just nauseous. Like I didn't want to consume anything. I felt horrible. I had really intense mouth ulcers for a while. This was the candida dying off, and let's see what else. I experienced some very rapid weight loss, to the point where I had people throwing their concerns about me, and I think a lot of people who embark on this path get these same sort of comments. And part of that's due to the reason where our idea of what a healthy body should look like from people who eat flesh and everything else is not normal. They think the bloated, waterlogged, protein, acid, gunked up body is a healthy body. So when we experience that weight loss, it's shocking to people, but it was quite a lot. And like Toni said, that can be a very common experience. But I knew that this was the right path, and I knew that I would get over it. And so with the weight loss, I experienced some muscle loss too. There was a part of that as well. And again, just knowing, and part of that came with a reduction in energy to an extent, or reduction in strength. But again, I knew that this is the path to follow, and it's going to take some time to heal. And so I'm willing to go through this process. I've experienced some hair loss. I've had more hair coming out of my head than I was used to, and fortunately, I had a lot of hair. I still have a lot of hair, so it wasn't noticeable. But to me, it is noticeable. So that's just something to pay attention to. I have these weird, like, it feels like my ears are clogged at times, and I know that is just a concentrated lymph build up in my head, which makes sense with the hair loss as well. You know, I've got some things that need to get moving in some better spaces, and so I've experienced those issues. But that's and then recently has been, I've, like Tony mentioned, having things come out of your hands and feet. I've had like these this like pus-filled boils show up on my hands whenever I go into heavy detox. Whenever I really stick with the fruit, I get these things in my hands, which I know is just another way that my body is expelling things. And so again, it just comes back to this realization that it's going to take some time to get back to that space of healing. So everything that the fruit is causing none of this. The fruit is allowing our body to heal these things that were all already there and just laying dormant. The fruit is allowing our body to actually target them and remove them so that they're not slowly killing us. And yes, the initial unleashing of those things is going to be a little bit drastic, and we will experience some discomfort. But again, going back to this faith that this is the path to follow, and it's going to take some real grind to work through it and move past it, so that on the other side we experience that true health. And this can take years. That, you know, different people have different constitutions, have, you know, it all depends on what diet they're shifting from, you know, where they're coming from, how long they were toxifying themselves. So there's really no one size fits all approach. It's a personal journey that everyone has to go through. But if you maintain that commitment from the very beginning, that no matter what happens, I'm going to work through this, that is going to help you get through these in, you know, a smoother transition, a smoother timeline, especially if you maintain that that positive attitude that, okay, I'm going to experience some physical discomfort, but ultimately my body is healing in ways that it has never been able to do before. I am reaching levels of health that I would have and have never experienced before. And it just makes the reward on the other side that much sweeter when we finally get there. So just wanted to say that and share personal journey and give comfort to anyone that, you know, you're not alone. You don't, and you have a lot of people to reach out to support for. So when you go through these things, you know, don't hesitate to reach out if you need to. And but yeah, it's a beautiful journey to be on. So that was kind of my piece there.
Well, it was a very good explanation, so thank you.
Yeah.
It's actually Dr. Morse wrote something about the strong cleansing effects, and that goes into exactly the same as what you were talking about. He says most people do not experience this level of detoxification, referring to the strong cleansing effects.
Hmm.
This depends upon the individual and how toxic they are, and how many medications they are taking is also a factor. A few people that have chosen to suppress their body's needs to cleanse itself through steroids like prednisone have some deeper issues. Yeah, and it's not only the medication, the food that you take suppresses a lot of the symptoms too. However, those who are more likely to experience the above are the chronically toxic from birth who manifest cancer, HIV, and or very serious illnesses. So that is, yeah, it's good to know. We have to get through this anyway if we want to heal and have a beautiful life. And about that beautiful life and all the health, it was something, it had to do with astrology. It was something that Jeanette said, and she said she could clearly see how the world is in 20 years from now. And that it's, I mean, 20 years, that seems like, you know, a long time, but time flies. But that would be a world where everyone is healthy. We have no borders, we have no money issues, we have no time issues, and it's the utopia. And she was very clear about that. That was in 24 years. So everything that we would wish for, the world is. I mean, we cannot expect it right away because there's a lot of work that all of us have to do. And it's not only, you know, the health part, which is major important, but there's so many things as in our behavior. And I think that's also part of the health.
Yeah, definitely. And I forgot to mention, you know, the benefits that I've experienced as well. Like there are definitely those, and and like I said, it could be different for everyone. Some people might like Dr. Morse listed on that list. You might experience the clarity loss or mental fog from as a healing symptom. But I've experienced the opposite ever since I've stepped onto this path. My mental clarity and my just sharpness has been increased. I can't even describe how much. I mean, I feel and I'm able to perceive so much more. So that alone is enough to be a reason to continue. If I've already unlocked this amount of magic just doing this, I don't really care, it doesn't really matter what else happens to me physically because I know this is the right path. And so yeah, that was one thing I wanted to mention. And just that, yeah, yeah, it's an amazing process, but it does take some time and patience for sure. And
Well, yeah, it's a beautiful journey that we are on,
mhm,
and enjoy it, enjoy what we have. It is when I spoke with someone, and I made, actually, it was my mistake to ask what he was doing for fun. And when we think doing something for fun, I had never thought about it that way. So that is why I ask it with those words. When we are thinking about fun, we think about something adventurous, maybe dancing, maybe go, I don't know, skydiving or something on the water, as in fun activities. And actually, I was thinking as fun is going into the forest, hug a tree, sniff a rose. Those were my ideas about doing something for fun. And I think we overlook those little things, those things that are taken as being, oh, just everyday normal stuff. But we should realize how very, very special they are. And it's about nature, being out in nature. It is actually what I miss the most, being out in a forest and no other sounds than the forest, the trees, the birds, everything. It's here in the evening. I have these, what is it, crickets, or these things that are high up in the tree, and all of a sudden they start making a huge noise, and then all of a sudden they stop at the same time. And I know they are in the trees. Do you know what they are called?
I don't.
It's some kind of a cricket, but
Oh,
it's
cicadas maybe?
yeah, but they're only there once every so many years, so I don't think it's those. But anyway, these are the little things that yeah, I think is so that's my fun part, sitting outside listening to them. And sometimes they move all together from one tree to the other. You don't see them, but you also all of a sudden hear them in another tree, or maybe it's the next choir, the next door choir who now starts their singing. But it don't overlook these simple things to make you feel good. It's embrace that too. Embrace the beauty that you feel when you put your feet on wet grass. It's as long as there are no fire ants like I have here.
Hmm.
And enjoying my everyday. My fig tree gives me one ripe fig. It's a new tree, only had it a few months, but I got a ripe fig every day. There
Nice.
is so much, I call it healing beauty, in these little things. So when I talk about, what is somebody doing for fun, it's like, don't overlook these things. It doesn't have to be a major activity. It is just enjoying what is already there. That you don't have to come up with anything new. It's just enjoy what you can see and what is there.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, there was something else that Dr. Moore said about when it is not a healing crisis. We shouldn't overlook that. Not every reaction can be pinned down to a healing crisis, and this is especially true of the parasitical worm involvement. Effects from chemical medications, continual exposure to the same environmental toxins, of which the only true solution is to remove oneself from this environment and proceed with detoxification. Reactions to pesticide, herbicides, fungicides, and etc., and lethal deterioration of important internal issues as a result of prolonged unaddressed acidosis or parasitic activity. So when you realize that you are not feeling well and you just leave it and keep eating what you're eating, you get to the point that, you know, how far do you need to go downhill before you realize you can't go uphill anymore? So he says, many of such instances may call for an emergency intervention or medical examination. To be on the safe side, do not postpone or hesitate to contact Dr. Morse's clinic or the practitioner you're working with if you suspect something serious. So yes, there are times that we would say, like, I don't know what to do, you know, find medical help, but it is in rare occasions. Because actually I get to deal more with people who have been given up than people that wonder if they should detox or go to the hospital.
Yeah.
So it's even the people that have been given up but who can still heal. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you had any questions, but I had one question or a question that you forwarded to me, mm-hmm. and that was about the thyroid. From Sarah, I've been recording my basal temperature for over a week and wondering what you can deduce from that. Was on a 90-day juice feast, beautiful. Feeling great, but still have cravings, usually in the evening, for hummus, potato chips, and chocolates. I did take Dr. Morse's parasite formula G when on the feast and have the formula M, but haven't taken that very regularly. Oh, I would absolutely take M right now. M is for it's the micro. The M stands for microorganisms, and those are the fungus, the candida, the mold. So absolutely do take that. From what you said with your basal temperature, yes, there's definitely a weak thyroid. And we can address that. We have herb formulas for that. And so let's just connect and I'll guide you through that. We go from there, Sarah. And she also writes, well, thank you. Love what you do. And I'm enjoying wearing my FreakSense TV long sleeve t-shirt here in the UK. Yeah, I saw that there were more long sleeve shirts sold now than others. And we have to thank Colleen too, because a lot of her designs, especially the one cast dinette to the right, people really, really like. She is asking, would like to meet some of the freak family here in North Wales, if there are any. Maybe if somebody here is listening, otherwise I would say wait a little until we have the FreakSense World website open. And that is a great way to connect with people all over the world, and you should be able to find people locally within the group. So you know you're on the same wavelength then. And you know, maybe in Justin's group, just reach out. I know we have a lot of people in the UK. So North Wales is UK, right?
Yes.
I should know. They were my neighbors. Oh gosh, do you have any questions, Justin?
Yeah, we had a few from the chat. So just going through, Fairman in America asks, how do you fix your toenails to go back from normal, from a dry, fungy, thick, dull yellow color? Anything we can put on it or eat? So just quickly, my take is, you know, this is, could be getting into, I mean, it is getting into these detox, these healing symptoms that we just discussed. So it might get worse before it gets better. But if you stay on this path, that your body will heal itself in the way that it needs to. But I'm sure there are some herbal formulas that could help with that, which Toni would know more about.
Well, there's actually, it's interesting, and I had not thought about that before, but somebody mentioned to use the parasite M, the one that I just mentioned for microorganisms on it.
Hmm.
But other than that, it's not a fast process, it's not like, oh, I put something on and in a month it looks great. Your nail has a certain time to heal. It needs a certain time to heal. So as long as you're doing what your body needs to heal, that will be healed also.
Mhm.
But the parasite M, as well as on the outside as well as internally, can definitely help you there.
Great. Yeah, it's just that, it's just that process. This can take years, and nails especially are going to be those things that are kind of slow to do anything. But we just gotta keep the faith and keep going on the right path. So you're doing great, brother. Keep it up. JC Razel asks, can you suggest a good liver cleanse?
Yeah, there is a liver cleanse, and it includes oil. I have the recipe for it. If you want, Justin, I can send that to you so you can put it in the show notes.
Yeah, that'd be great.
There is a liver cleanse. The only thing is there are people who are doing it on a very regular base, and I can only say don't. If you do it once and then maybe once a year, and don't do it more often, because that is not helping you. But that one cleanse, yes, there is. And if you suspect that you have a liver issue, which easily can. I mean, a lot of us have been drinking throughout our life, not being an alcoholic, but consuming alcohol anyway. If it is the wine or the beer, and it all affects your liver pretty much. There is actually a liver. It's now a liver skin formula, because the liver, or the skin and the liver, it is related. Not only the parathyroid and the skin, but also the liver. So yeah, an occasional liver cleanse is great. And if you want to regenerate your liver, that is the Dr. Moore's liver skin formula. And for anyone, I'm not saying this to make money on these formulas. Dr. Moore's is so generous to give me 30% discount on his formulas. So he does that for all his practitioners. And what I chose to do is, if you order through me, I receive your money, I pay Dr. Morris, and they sent it from their office. I give you 15%, and I get to get 15% for my work. I thought that was a fair deal.
Yeah, I think so.
So that is how that works. It's not like, oh my gosh, this is a money maker. No, it's not really.
Yeah,
And
just a little compensation for your time.
yeah, it helps people out. So that would be good. Yeah, that's it about the liver cleanse.
Cool. Next one from Murphy's Law. What's your take on raw honey, folks? My take is it's biologically, it seems to be fairly neutral to consume depending on the source. And, I wouldn't trust just honey bought in a store, but if you truly know that it is raw, and it seems to be fairly neutral. However, there's the higher moral debate, which needs to be looked at concerning honey, and it's another thing that's extracted from animals, and so where animals are subjugated to produce something for us to consume. And so you have, if you don't know what the conditions of the bees are and how they're treated, and if a lot of times the queen is killed every single time when the honey is extracted and things of that nature, then we're just supporting the same sort of industry that is like cow milk, where these cows are horribly treated. And, sure, you can justify that you're not killing the cow directly by doing this, but you're subjugating it, you're raping it, you're pillaging it. So it's that same sort of moral debate. We don't need honey. There's nothing in our body that requires honey specifically. So I tend to avoid it just for that reason alone. It just seems to be a slippery slope to if I'm not growing bees, if I don't have bees as my in my space that I know exactly how they're treated and somehow it can get some of the honey, then I'm not going to participate in it because it is bee food. So that's kind of my thoughts on that.
Yeah, it is actually, people forget about that. It's actually the food for the bees.
Hmm.
And there are beekeepers who only take a small percentage of the honey that they sell and they keep the rest for the bees. And I like to think the bees don't make more than what they need, or it's not. We always think that if it tastes good, it's meant for us. It's not really.
Hmm.
Now I can't say that I am never taking any honey. I don't like it that much, so it's rarely used. But I was not aware of how bees are being treated, and that there are very, very few beekeepers who do it the right way. And it's not a good practice what is going on there. So even though you see organic or you see raw, still doesn't mean that the honey is the way it's supposed to be. So if you have to use it, yeah, but when do you really have to use it? You know what is a good alternative? Is actually dates.
Yep, exactly.
And the beauty with dates is it is so versatile what you can do with that. Even if you would want to make something spicy, have some dates, add some water, add a little cayenne, and oh my God, you have a wonderful spicy sauce.
Mm.
You
Yeah,
can
just
even
blend that
use it
up.
over bananas or whatever if you want to have, something like that.
Hmm.
And anything that needs to be sweetened, try make a date syrup. You can make a date syrup. It's only water and dates, high speed blender. And if you want it thick, you want it thin, thick for over ice cream or thin for some other reasons. It works. It may be a different taste than honey, but it definitely, you don't hurt any creature with it.
Hmm.
And I think that is where we need to go to.
Yep. Yeah, well said. Yeah, and it's easiest to make the date syrup to soak the dates overnight. Overnight is best, and that helps them break down and create that syrup a little easier. So just a tip for making that, but great suggestion. I think that's fantastic. JC Razel says, once your fillings fell out, how did you repair the space the filling came out of?
I didn't hear that one.
So once your fillings fell out, how did you heal the teeth, or how did you fill
I
the
didn't do
space?
anything. It fell out and that's it.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at it. I'm not going to a dentist to refill it. I just expect it to regrow.
Yep. I mean, it fell out because your teeth are regrowing. So that's why it initially falls out. There might be a gap when it initially falls out, but your teeth can heal. Your teeth can heal just like anything else. Dr. Morse is all about regeneration because we have a regenerative body. That's what this whole process of doing the work is all about. That's all what Jesus was talking about with the alkaline body. We get to regenerate. We get to become the regenerated man, which includes our teeth.
Yeah, but there is some metal I have in my body and I would like to keep it.
Hmm.
Because
What's that?
I broke an upper femur right under
Mm.
the hip ball. And we know that everything can heal, but
Mhm.
if that needs to heal, you cannot move 1/10 of an inch even. And
Mm.
that was not an option. So they cut it off and put metal in it. And now I have metal in my body.
Mm.
Not happy with it, but I think I would be pretty miserable if they hadn't done it. Let's say it that way, because that hurts. That break did hurt.
Yeah. Let's see. We'll do one more question. Toni, I broke my 126-day fruit juice fast 3 weeks ago. Nice job. Congratulations. She said, Karen said, I have had severe hair loss for the past 3 months. How can I stop this?
I wish I could tell you you can.
Well,
Um,
you can. We don't know
well,
how
not,
quickly.
yeah, but it's not by a treatment. I mean, you've only done a 3-week fast,
No,
And
126th day.
oh, on the 26th, my gosh, you beat me here.
Mhm.
Wow, amazing. The weaknesses come out, and whatever is weak has to go, and new will your hair will regrow. I have heard from especially from the people who took it to the max with their detoxing, and they were young. They were in their 30s. Yeah, actually, most of them were in their 30s, and their hair fell out. You wouldn't expect that from somebody from that a young age. And they all said that their hair came back nicer, thicker, and it just looked a lot better. But it is I'm going through this now, the hair loss. It's no fun. And it's worrisome. And I know, Justin, you had that issue.
Mhm.
There is one thing that I can think of that you have to address, even though you did a very long juice fast already, is to make sure that you really clean out your GI tract, that all the mucoid plaque comes out that you can absorb. But it still is the same. The old hairs, they just have to come out, and new hair will regrow. It's just part of it. And it's easy for me to say, don't worry about it. I got over it. That, okay, this is what it is, and I better get used to it. But it's not easy. And I actually have one of Dr. Morse's long-term practitioners. She made a video about it that was very clear. That was the first time that I heard that's like, don't worry about it. It's going to happen anyway. It's part of detoxing. Old needs to go, new comes in. And it was a little shock, and I'm sure you're pretty shocked with what I am telling you. But the only thing is that what you can do is keep doing what you're doing. Don't start adding, and I don't think you will do that because you are so well on your way. Don't add the bad foods back in, thinking that may help. And you don't need supplements either, but do make sure that your GI tract is clean so that whatever you eat can be well absorbed. And you may have a parathyroid weakness. If you like, we can go over that and find out if that is the case, and see what we can do there. Often it has to do with stagnated lymph. With your long juice feast, I would like to know if your kidneys are filtering, because if they are filtering, you start moving the lymph. We've talked about that a few times. You can do the dry brushing. You can do the little jumping. Justin loves the grass. I rather go on the bouncer with all the the fire ants here. And
And
yeah,
dry fasting as well is another great one.
the dry fasting to open up your kidneys, but to get the lymph moving, it is, you can do light massages, you can do even light head massages, and you can do something else, and you can easily see that. And we get back to the iridology. Look in the mirror and see if you have any whitish that you can see if you really look close up on in your eyes, in the iris. If there is any whitish in it, it means that you have lymph stagnation.
It's good to know. Yeah, an iridology reading is something that I would like to do at some point. But also just learning about it yourself can be easily done. There's lots of great information. Dr. Morris has put out lots of good info so that we can take health back into our own hands and see what's going on.
I have a PDF of, I think that's Dr. Eric's, was it Eric's? One of the iridology books. I can send it to you.
Yes,
and
please.
It has examples in it. I have one textbook, but that's a lot of reading. I think you rather see the images. But it is, and there are actually Dr. Morse's videos. I think I have one on my channel. If not, I'm going to put one there. And you may not be able to see the details of everything that is going on in your body, but the basics, like, do you have fungus in your body? You can see that by the orange in your eyes. If you have a lot of brown around the pupil is has to do with your GI tract. Now, this is very generic, what I'm saying now. I mean, there are way more details for that, but these are the little things that you can easily see yourself. And then you know what to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said. All right. Well, that's another hour, another week. Thanks for being here, Toni. Thank you for everyone for your questions. We didn't get too many emailed questions. So if you have questions for next week, please send them over to the emails listed in the show notes. But still a fantastic show today. We covered a lot of great stuff, and I think it's beautiful to help remind people that, you know, these healing symptoms, these detox symptoms are common, and they most likely will be gone through, maybe not by everybody, but it's good to know and have that awareness of them so that when we experience them, we don't freak out and go right back to eating the way we were before. So yeah, thanks for being here, Toni. Do you have any closing words for us?
No, no, not really. I think we said it all. I just wish everybody a wonderful time and a very healthy journey, and have fun with it. And do all the things that you feel that you really want to do. You know, listen to your intuition, and embrace what is happening in your body. You know, as long as you know you do the right thing, it will all be good.
Yep. All right. Well, I love y'all and thank you, and we'll see you next time.
Love too to everybody. Bye bye.